I heard this short fella. The sky is falling. I heard this short fella. The sky is falling.
Over the past 5 years, every single decision we have taken has been to fertilize prosperity for today and to sow the seeds of progress for our nation 10 years from now. Every budget we delivered, every investment we attracted, every infrastructural project we approved, and those we re-engineered are meant for our children, our future, our Saint Lucia. The United Workers' Party. Let's keep working.
Welcome to Building Bridges, Conversations on Social Development, where we explore the power of connection, collaboration, and community in shaping a more inclusive and prosperous world. Join us as we delve into the key issues, innovative solutions, and inspiring stories that drive positive change and empower individuals and communities to thrive. Let's embark on this transformative journey together, uniting hearts and minds for a brighter future for all. Let's get to work with Garfield Oliver of Caribbean American News Media.
Special good night
Welcome
to
to
all
Building
our viewers. Welcome to the platform, Caribbean American News Media Online. We are broadcasting on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. We want to greet everyone. Thank you for coming in so early. You're rushing in. Yes, my friends, we have some major breaking developments that we want to discuss with you. We're inviting you at this time to share the live with your friends, share the live with a hack. Just share the live, folks. Let's get involved tonight. We need to build up this platform to get our message out. Please share as much as you can. Remember, you're on to Caribbean American News Media platform. Folks, how was your weekend? Here's hoping that you had a beautiful one. Good evening to all our viewers. Again, greetings, BBDT and all the others. I see my friend Cleopatra is already locked in. Also, Lydia Francis, Nicole, John, Janice, welcome. Yes, my friend Jojo, greetings to you. A long time I have not seen Martin Francis. Is he okay? Let us know if Mr. Martin Francis, our brother from another mother, is okay. Lydia Francis, I do apologize. I got caught up in a number of other calls. Matthew, greetings to you. Felix, welcome. Gregory Charles, welcome to the platform. To those of you who have not logged in, but you are viewing, we are welcome also to the SLP supporters who are logged in, not logged in, but you're watching. You too are welcome. If you're concerned about your country and it is all about nation building, you would press that button and come on in. Show yourself. Nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to hide about. Come on to the platform. Let's have a discussion. My guest tonight, we're going to get right into our program. As I said to you, friends, we have some major breaking development concerning the CIP program. As we know, Saint Lucia, we're experiencing some issues there. But let me tell you something, my people. My guest and I are proud St. Lucians. Let me just say this first. And our agenda tonight, it is not just to stain the name of St. Lucia and the CIP program and to make the country look bad. We are here for the interests of the citizens of the country. At the end of the day, some of you might lose out on visiting the United States, Martinique, and other countries in the world as a result of the carelessness and the pettiness of our government, our government. All right? And so I am saying we are here in good faith. We love the country. And like somebody said to me, At the end of the day, elections may be just a year and a few months off. The United Workers' Party will come into power and will have to lead. We understand that. So we are here, friends, in your interests, in the people's interests. And so we invite you to come with an open heart as we discuss these major developments in our country. It is very important, friends, that you not be distracted tonight, that we stay focused on our agenda for the night. With me tonight, friends, she's not a stranger to you St. Lucians, and by the way, not a stranger to the SLP hacks. Our friend Meniva Ward, she's here with us tonight, and she's here for business. I am here for business, and I hope that you are here also for business, our viewers. All right, so Meniva Ward is here, and she has been on this CIP program for a very long time, and truth be told, she have shared a number of concerns with us, even on her platform. Here we are tonight, friends, where most of these concerns are coming to punch the country in the gut. We are going to discuss. So I want to welcome my friend Meniva Ward here on the platform with us, and I'm going to just allow her to just greet you and to just speak to you for a moment, and then we will get straight into the bouillon of the matter. Share the light, folks. Meniva.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, Pastor Garfield. Thank you so much for having me on your show tonight and on your platform. I think, like you said in your introduction, that as St. Lucians, we are very much concerned with what is happening to our CIP program. This is something that every single St. Lucian, both at home and abroad, should be rightfully concerned about. We know that when we started, St. Lucia went the route of CIP, we were a late starter into the game. We were a late entrant. Antigua was ahead of us, Dominica, St. Kitts. There were many other OCS countries that had gone ahead, and we were late to the game. And I think a lot of it is because there were reservations and hesitations by St. Lucians and concerns, and rightful concerns about the program, about giving foreigners and other people our passports. Like Ralph Gonzalez said, your citizenship is the highest office of the land. But we understand that as a country, a small developing country with limited resources, limited opportunities to make money, we went into CIP almost as a necessary evil. We almost saw it as this necessary evil that we go into, we make money for the development of the country, but we entrust our government, whether it's Labour or UWP, whichever government is in power, we are entrusting them to really manage the program with the highest level of integrity and scrutiny and oversight to protect our citizenship, which is the highest office, like Ralph Gonzalez said, and I agree, the highest office of the land, to protect our reputation as St. Lucians. And I think, Pastor Garfield, you will agree with me. I think as St. Lucians, we are very proud of being St. Lucians. We are very proud of our patrimony. We are very proud of our country. And we are very guarded. We are very cautious by the names of our country being dragged into disrepute. I'm not here, like you said, to bash any person, anybody, or any agency. But we have been watching this thing for a while. We've been watching this thing unfold for a while. From the time this government came into office, the first order of business, if you remember, the first order of business was to change the laws. So CIP, every single year, the government had to go to Parliament and account for the number of passports issued, who got citizenships, the number of money raised, and so on. There was parliamentary oversight of our CIP program. The first order of business when this government was elected was to change the oversight body from the Parliament and put it within Cabinet. So Cabinet now has sole discretion over how the CIP monies can be used. There's no parliamentary oversight about for it anymore. So this was the first flag that they would not be. They basically took away the scrutiny and the oversight of the program, and they put it in-house, basically within their own cabinet. This was the first flag for us, and well, for me, and I'm certain for many other St. Lucians who could remember that why, instead of creating a more transparent program where there would be more oversight, because you try to strengthen your program, what that move actually did was to create less oversight. So since this government got elected in July 2021, what we have seen is a number of issues raised over the last 3 years that have been quite alarming. And the opposition, and I don't speak for the opposition, but the opposition has been flagging those issues over and over and over and raising concerns that our CIP program, it was off track. The way it was going was definitely off track. And you will remember, Pastor Garfield, when the unprovoked invasion of Ukraine happened in 2022, the world moved to put sanctions on Russia. You remember that, right?
Yes, I did.
Including in fact, all of the OECS CBI, and when I say CBI, I use it interchangeably, CIP. They moved to stop or halt all processing of Russian applications.
Yes.
Because Russian applications, it was part of the sanctions, plus there were security issues around Russian applicants. Additionally, countries like the UK, places like the UK, were flagging issues with Russians coming into their country. How could we go ahead and continue issuing passports to Russians when the UK has told you this is a security risk, when the US has moved to put sanctions, when the rest of the OECS had stopped processing applications? Instead, our government, just as we see now with the refusal to sign the MOU with the rest of the OECS, they dug their heels in and also refused to stop the processing of Russian applications. And if you remember, in March of 2022, you remember what Ernest Hilaire said. He said, we cannot discriminate against Russian applications.
That's right.
That was his excuse. So he was not concerned about the integrity of our citizenship, of our passports. He was not concerned about the global sanctions the world had put on Russia. He was not concerned about what the UK was saying to us about their security concerns with Russian applications. It was all about a money grab for this current government, under the guise of we can't discriminate against Russians. So it was more important.
So not to
Please jump in.
cut across here, because
Yeah.
I'm at school also. All right. So not only that, it was about the money for this government, it was also, I believe, a spiteful attempt to slap Mr. Chastney in the face, because remember, he was the one who kept warning the government about the Russian issue and the possibility of visa restrictions on the citizens of the country, the security of the country also. So it was about the money, and because Chastney said it, we're not going to listen to him, we will go the other way. And I think that these guys are very stubborn, but go ahead.
They're absolutely very stubborn. But the whole idea that Ernest Hilaire would put the priority of Russian applications and he's not wanting to quote unquote discriminate, as since when Ernest cares about discrimination about Russia or anywhere else, to put that ahead of St. Lucians and put the visa-free access to the UK and other countries at risk. That was the first issue, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It was not until they were
Correct.
pressured and pressured and pressured. And remember, we moved. The world has moved a little bit, on since that started. But the entire world was putting sanctions on Russia. Now I don't know if I don't know if it happens in the US, but all in Canada, everybody's flying the UK flag. Everybody was concerned about Ukraine. Canada was opening their borders so that the world was concerned about what's happening to Ukraine.
Yes.
And hence the world collectively stood to take a stance against Russia. Meanwhile, our own government is going full speed ahead, continuing the process of applications from Russians. It was only until they were pressured. They were the last country in the OECS the last country, so in March, I believe, of 2022 or April 2022, they issued a press release, CIP, saying that they have agreed to halt a Russian application, the process of Russian applications. They gave St. Lucians that assurance that they had stopped the processing of Russian applications. Today, we have learned by a statement made by CIP CEO Mc Claude Emmanuel in Grenada that in truth and in fact, the processing of Russian applications had continued or has continued.
But what was the excuse that was given to the St. Lucian people in St. Lucia? It was that
Exactly.
we had some applications that, we had already signed on to. Just give us some time to fulfill these this agreement, and then But we knew nothing about Russian applications, as you said, except for in Grenada. Was it last week?
Yes, exactly. So this is another example of St. Lucia being an outlier and refusing to comply, refusing to hear the concerns about the countries who grant us visa-free access. Pastor Garfield, these people are not looking to St. Lucia because they love our Sun, Sea, and Sand. They have no affinity or allegiance like you and I have to St. Lucia. They have no love for our brand, St. Lucia. They have no sense of our patrimony. That's not why they buy our CIP passports. They buy our CIP passports, not all of them, but by and large for the visa-free access that we get as St. Lucians to places within the European Union. That is what they're essentially buying. So if the countries that have granted you that visa-free access is telling you that your program is posing a risk to my country, what do you think the European Union is going to do? They have been more than patient with us, and we continue to be an outlier and continue to hold out. So we were told that the reason for the delay, we were told by the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the reason for the delay in signing the MOU or the MOA, whichever it is, I'm using them interchangeably, was because there were some agreements he wanted to have grandfathered in. I'm not sure how you could dictate to the UK, who has expressed concerns, that you have some contracts you want to grandfather in. If the UK is saying to you, I have allowed you visa-free access to my country, I have an issue with XYZ you're doing, it will give me comfort if you sign the MOU together. The rest of the OECD countries have rushed to get into compliance, and you are still insisting, no, I want further information. I'm not sure what further information you want. Even the whole meeting in Brussels where you said you were not summoned, you went to get information. When the information has been provided to you for the last 2-3 years by the UK. So what more information you want? But he's also told us they're trying to make as much money because they see the door is going to close. The UK is going to close the door because they have, I think, up June 1st to sign this agreement, which is in the next few days. They were trying to rush to get as much in as possible. So mouth open story jump out this weekend in Grenada, Pastor Garfield.
Well, it is always on foreign soil that St. Lucians...
that we get to know things.
That's right.
Always on foreign soil that we get to know things. Our government is not forthcoming with information. They are not transparent. They feed us. I never know. Prime Minister Massav, I never know. I don't know. Ring a roses. All kinds of things that never get to answer the questions. We heard about the halls of justice in a Trinidadian newspaper.
Right.
We're hearing about the CIP program in Grenada from a Grenadian newspaper. So we heard from our CEO of our CIP, Mc Claude Emmanuel, for the first time that a prime minister intends to sign the MOU from a Grenadian newspaper on Grenadian soil.
So that it was not in the local news.
No.
Or on the government information service or at the press briefing.
Nowhere. Not a press release from the CIP, not a press release in the office of the Prime Minister, no press, nothing from any government channel in St. Lucia. We got to know it on the weekend in a Grenadian newspaper. And like I was saying, mouth open story jump out. And I'm reading from this Grenadian newspaper. And they're quoting, Mc Claude Emmanuel, word for word. Providing an explanation for the delay, he disclosed, and they're quoting, in the first instance, we just felt that there were some areas we wanted to seek clarity. We What we were requesting was not unique. We wanted to facilitate the processing of Russian applications on our files.
Jesus. Wow, 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 wow. And this is from the Grenadian media.
Newspaper. Yes. So he goes to Grenada and admits that the part of the reason for the delay in signing the MOU is that they have continued, they wanted to facilitate the processing of Russian applications when they gave us the assurance 2 years ago that all processing of Russian applications had ceased. This is an ultimate betrayal of the trust of the people of Saint Lucia. They have lied to us.
Yep.
When the CIP program, when we have entrusted them with the ability to sell our citizenship, it does not belong to Philippe. It does not belong to Alan Chasney. It does not belong to Ernest Hilaire. It does not belong to Guy Joseph. It belongs to us. It is our citizenship.
That's right.
When we give them the ability to sell our citizenship on our behalf to benefit our country, we are also entrusting them with to do due diligence, to do the highest levels of integrity, transparency, honesty. When you have assured us 2 years ago by press release and memo that you have stopped selling passports to Russians, you are going to Grenada to say the reason why you are delaying and holding out on the signing of the MOU was to facilitate the processing of Russian applications on our files. Among the clarity required was the St. Lucia government having a conversation with the U.S. Treasury Department pertaining to Russian applications. He told, meaning Mc Claude Emmanuel, the CEO of CIP, he told delegates who represented governments in the OECS CBI, meaning Citizenship by Investment jurisdiction, and international service providers to the CBI industry that, quote unquote, we had some contracts that we wanted to grandfather into the new agreement.
So wait a minute. You're going very fast because I am telling you this is beyond ridiculous. First of all, we were told by our government, and by the way, we should be able to trust our government with information. Our government told us that there is nothing to be concerned about. We are not processing applications from Russia.
Exactly. After we had to pressure them, but they
under pressure.
Right. Yes.
So our government in St. Lucia, with all these embassies and ambassadors in the United States representing St. Lucia, they are not aware that the United States, right now, they have a big problem with Russia.
Exactly.
So now they are delaying signing an agreement. I believe it is a MOA, a memorandum of agreement that the other countries have already signed on to. Their excuse to the citizens was that we had already signed agreements, but they never told us that it was with the Russians. Or else we would have had a broader picture of what is going on. We would know that the United States would never allow or encourage St. Lucia to issue any passports to the Russians. It is just a security risk for the United States of America. But go ahead, my dear.
And the UK.
And the UK.
And the UK. So this is where we are with this whole Russia situation. So the government has betrayed our trust. They have betrayed our trust. And Pastor Garfield, this is after many, many, many warnings, press releases, press conferences by the opposition, voicing their concern about what this means, the security and integrity of our program, and what this could mean for St. Lucians, the average St. Lucian who needs to travel to the UK. Now, I'm going to go into, a lot of people don't understand the mechanics of CIP and how it works. And it could be a little bit confusing. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm going to keep it high level. So it's a little bit dry.
Yeah.
One of the ways the government, basically somebody can get a CIP passport is by donation, which means they donate 100,000. I mean, all of this I'm speaking about is US dollars. So they donate $100,000 to the government of St. Lucia. Basically, it's transferred to the Economic Council. So if you, Garfield, if you were from wherever part of the world, and you want a St. Lucian passport, I'm going to donate $100,000. It goes to the Economic Council. The government can use it for infrastructure and so on.
Right.
Okay? 10% commission goes to the agent who sells
How
you
much?
that passport. 10%.
10%.
10%. Yeah, 10%. That's one option. So that's the one that really and truly benefits the people of St. Lucia most because we get the majority of money. The majority of it comes to us, right? Which can be used for infrastructure, for anything. The next option is the real estate option. So the real estate option used to be $300,000. It has gone down to $200,000. It was officially on the books gone down to $200,000. So here's what happens. Now we only have one approved real estate developer in St. Lucia, which is Caribbean Galaxy. So the way that works is that you can apply, if you're a developer, you can apply to be an approved developer. Right now, Caribbean Galaxy is the only approved developer. So let's say, Garfield, let's say you were, and the program is also open to locals as well. Let's say you are a big developer and you want to do a hotel project in St. Lucia, or you want to do, let me think of let's say a big marina development, right? You want to do a big project. You could say, okay, you could come to the government and say, I want to do this project, and apply to be an approved developer, which means they will give you passports to sell, right? St. Lucian passports to sell. And that money from the passport goes into an escrow account, which is a joint account. And that joint account is between the CIP board and the real estate developer. So let's say you're building that marine development or that marina. So you start doing the works, you start doing the dredging or whatever. At every step, there's a contract, and at every step, basically, so you sell the passport, it goes into that fund, then you're allowed to take off based on the construction of the stage is the construction is at.
Right.
That's another option, right? So people who you could buy a CIP passport and that money goes into that. And I think that the purpose of the government doing that is to encourage development in the country, right? But for that stream, there's less money that goes directly into the coffers of the country, but it does create employment, it does create development, and so on. That's number two. The third option is a bond option, which means if you have you could buy a government bond or buy government bonds for $500,000, so $500,000, and the government holds it for 5 years, but they pay you no interest. Now, as you know, government bonds are some of the most secure investments, right? The stock market, everything fluctuates. Government bonds, if it's 8% you're supposed to get, you're going to get that when the bond matures or you roll it over or whatever. So you're basically lending the government $500,000 US interest-free. The interest would be your contribution, essentially, and you get Saint Lucian citizenship. That's the third option. The fourth option, this government is doing and has not gone to Parliament, has not told St. Lucians they're doing it, but they are doing it. Listen to this option. Listen to this option is the infrastructure option. And here's what's happening. And the issue is that there's no transparency about this option.
So this is a new option that was added. And it was not.
It has not gone to Parliament. There's nothing. They've not told St. Lucians this is happening. Now, this was the same government, you'll remember, when Chasney was in power, despite the fact that he tabled All the details, the money made by CIP, how it was spent, the names of CIP applicants, every single year in Parliament, they would still there be, where the CIP money? Where the CIP money?
Yes, I remember
Remember
that.
where the CIP money? Right? They are in now, and the level of oversight, the level of transparency is not there. They have not gone to Parliament with this fourth option for selling our CIP, the infrastructure option. But here's what they're doing.
So
They're basically,
okay. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, ask your question. Just
No,
jump
go
in
ahead.
whenever you.
I'm writing as you teach.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay.
We're doing fine.
So the fourth option, so $100,000. So let's say the government has to build a bridge, right? Or let's say to fix up a road. And I'll give you an actual project which they're doing with the infrastructure fund money.
Right.
The rehabilitation of the Bosseju Road. That's one of the projects they're doing with the infrastructure fund's money.
That's a Grizzly
Right?
Highway.
Off the Grizzly Highway,
Okay.
into Bosseju, into the stadium. So they're rehabilitating that road with the money from the infrastructure program. Here is the problem. Let's say you want to buy Saint Lucia Citizenship. You pay $100,000. $30,000 goes to the agent. 30,000, right? The rest of it it does not come to any account owned by the government of St. Lucia, owned by CIP, owned by the Economic Council. It goes straight from the CIP agent, which is Caribbean Galaxy, to the contractor. So the Caribbean Galaxy is paying Renault directly, without any level of oversight for the rehabilitation of that Bosseju Road. This is what is going on there. This is the madness that is going on there.
Wow.
So what we do not know is how much Galaxy, because they're supposed to sell for $100,000. We have no idea how much they are selling it for. There is no oversight. Now, this is a company that has been chased out of Dominica, that has been chased out of St. Kitts, that has been chased out of everywhere, and we are allowing them to operate with impunity in our country without any of the checks and balances the last government had on them. Now, in truth and in fact, the Canals project, it started under us with Galaxy, but there was oversight. There were far fewer passports issued to them. The money was placed in the escrow account, and they had to show completion of the various levels of construction before they could draw down.
So
this is not happening.
Under the United Workers' Party, there were checks and balances.
Absolutely.
With the program.
Absolutely. So under the United Workers' Party, they were able to sell between 1,500 to 2,000 passports, right, to fund the Canals project. Under this government, they have been issued with 7,000 more passports, which they have sold. 7,000 more. And plus, they recently got another 5,000 under the infrastructure program. Now, listen to this. Here is an issue with, if you do the math on the sale of those 7,000 passports, right, at the $200,000 resources sold for, that's like $1.4 billion. The project at Canals, that hotel project, is like $250 million. So why would you give any developer that many passports to sell to develop a hotel? Like you give them passports worth five times more than the value of the hotel. Is it because you are then allowing them to undersell the passports? So from last year, from 2023, we have seen the screenshots, right? It's been on the different channels. I've seen it on United Pack, where there are actually screenshots of what the agents were selling So Caribbean Galaxy has their agents in all over as well. So they subcontract agents in the different countries. They had moved from selling our passport, which is legislated to be sold for no less than $100,000,
Was that figure
to
changed?
80. Sorry.
Was it changed by any government? The
So
figures.
let me just finish the point, and I'll come
Okay.
to answer that. So it's legislated to be $100,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were underselling for $85,000. Then they went down to 75, and there are actually ads last year out in the marketplace showing that our passports were being sold for $68,000.
Whoa.
$68,000.
That's a giveaway, yeah?
Now the opposition had flagged that to the government many times. No response from CIP Saint Lucia Limited. No response from Mc Claude Emmanuel. No response from Lon Theophilus. No response from Ernest Hille. If they're telling you these ads are out in the marketplace where agents are selling our passports for 68,000 when it's supposed to be 100,000, that is a problem. It is being undersold. You asked a question about whether the passport prices were ever brought down by a government. So I'll answer your question. Yes, it was brought down from 200,000 to 100,000 by Alan Chastain's government. And I'll explain to you why, and he's explained it. So essentially, what happens is that when you buy, the OECS is a currency union, which means we share the same currency.
Right.
It's also an economic union, which means there's free movement of people, there's free movement of capital within that economic space. So as a Dominican or Grenada or Vicentian or wherever, you can move, as you know, Garfield, all you need is a Saint Lucian driver's license or ID. You don't need a passport to go to anywhere in the OECS.
That's right.
Same way, you could go work, you could go set up, you could invest, you could do whatever you want to do with that, right?
Yeah, free movement.
Our passports were $200,000. Our program was $200,000. All the rest, remember Dominica and the Coco Macaquerie, all the rest had lowered their program. Basically, they were selling it cheap. So it's almost like give me a cheap store. Give me an example of a cheap store. SNS. Okay? So let's say you have Home Depot selling the item for $10,
right.
and you have SNS selling it for $5. Where do you think people are going to go to buy it?
Okay, so
the same item.
Right. So there's a rush to the other countries.
Exactly, which made ours uncompetitive.
That's right.
Right? So what was happening was that people would be buying Dominican passports at the $5 and coming to do what they had to do in St. Lucia. So ours were not being sold because why would you buy St. Lucia's when you could buy Dominica's for half the price and come to St. Lucia and do what I have to do same way? You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Hence, we had to lower ours in line. What this Labour Party government is not telling you, we had to lower ours in line with the rest of the OECS. Otherwise, ours would have been uncompetitive.
So we moved from 200,000 to 100,000.
Right. But the rest of the OECS
be competitive, just to
to get in line with this, right?
This. Okay.
Now
that's reasonable.
The MOA that they've signed has now brought it back up to 200,000. And they refuse to sign the MOA to get in line with the rest of the OECS countries back to $200,000.
That's the Jumbie government you're talking about.
That's the Jumbie government.
Okay, good.
That's the Jumbie government. And their argument is that, well, you guys had sold yours for half of the price of ours, so I'll give us a chance to catch up with you. Right? That's what they're telling them. You had your fun, you sold it for cheap, allow us to sell ours for cheap now too. So we can, you all make your money already, allow me to make my money too. Our money. Yes. That's what the Prime Minister has said. That's what they have said. They've said it clearly. They're not hiding to say that. Wow. Could you imagine the madness of that?
Wow.
The guys are actually saying, allow us, despite the fact the rest of the Caribbean, the rest of the OECS has had to bring it back up to give the UK certain comforts and assurances. They are still asking for ability to let us make our money. Right. Let us sell it. Let us allow it to sell it cheap.
But again, that's not what we're hearing out of Grenada. It's a whole different story over there.
It's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. So I don't know what the Russians are buying it for now. So apparently, it seems that's where the focus is. There's a lot of focus on Russia now. There's a lot of focus on Russia.
Yep, yep, yep. Because
And
the
Pastor
U.S.
Garfield, and I'm gonna
Go ahead. But the U.S.
I'm gonna
the U.S.
ask
radar is going to be up anytime
the,
you
the US
mention
radar is gonna
Russia.
be up.
Yeah.
Listen, I've gotten from sources in North American intelligence, and I'm asking the question. I'm not accusing anybody of anything.
Right.
I am asking because from what I've gotten is that there's a certain government minister with an offshore secret account in the country of Georgia. When I was told that, I didn't even know where Georgia was. You think Atlanta, Georgia. You think Georgia, the state.
You're right,
I
you're
had
right.
to go check to see where Georgia was, and then realize that Georgia is next to Russia.
Next to
It
Russia.
borders Russia. So apparently, that is where a lot of the money is being hidden. And the intelligence also has pointed to the facts. I'm not calling anybody's names. I'm asking Integrity Commission to start doing their work, right? MSR Media has had to do what the Integrity Commission of St. Lucia should have been doing.
That's right.
I am asking, is there a government minister in St. Lucia with an offshore bank account in the country of Georgia, a country bordering Russia? Because that is what the intelligence is pointing to. That a lot of the OECS countries involved in CIP programs, that is where a lot of the money is being parked.
So the question is, and St. Lucians, you're hearing the question. Ms. Watt, she's not accusing anyone. The question is being, and I'm asking the question too. What is happening over there in Georgia with any St. Lucian politician? Is it true? And I would ask that the Integrity Commission and those watchdog agencies get involved. The problem now is that everybody is asleep. Look at where we are now in the CIP war. Now there's the threat. And by the way, Beneva, before you go back to that that offshore account in Georgia, I remember I came across an article from the Honorable Alan Chasney, and I actually dated it. It was April the 9th, 2024, where Mr. Chasney, and this is from the St. Lucia Times, an article from St. Lucia Times. It says, and I quote, Chasney warns of possible visa free fall over the CIP program.
Yep. He has been warning and warning and warning for a while. Not just now, from the Russia thing to now, being called back to the UK, whether he was called back to Brussels or whether he went to seek further information, the refusal and the holdout to sign that MOU, now the admission that they've continued processing Russian applications, they've continued to undersell the program, right? And this lawsuit with MSR Media, and I'll get to that in a bit.
Yep.
But these guys have betrayed the trust of the people.
Yep, clearly.
They have betrayed the trust that we have entrusted to them to sell the highest office of the land. That's what they have done.
Yep.
And they have not heeded the warnings, neither local warnings from our leader of the opposition, warnings from the US, warnings from the UK, warnings from other CPI countries in the OECS. They have not heeded the warnings of MSR Media to come examine the evidence.
They refused. They said we're not coming nowhere.
Right. So before the CEO of CIP was named in a lawsuit, they were invited. They're saying, okay, you are a country, you say that you're operating above the law, you're saying that you have a due diligence process that's robust. We have evidence that this Caribbean Galaxy company that operated in St. Kitts and operates in St. Lucia is corrupt. That's what a lawsuit is alleging, is corrupt, and there's a lot of corruption with officials around Caribbean Galaxy. We are inviting you to come and examine the evidence. Come see for yourself. Instead of going to see what these guys have, to strengthen our program, to make sure that we are carrying out due diligence.
Yeah.
They arrogantly said they're not going and called MSR Media a fraudster.
Yeah, the guy said it. They insulted them instead of just coming and look at the
Yep.
evidence. They insulted the guys. Philippe Jippe said that he never, and I came across a clip where the man is saying, Philippe Jippe, that nobody never sent him any letter. He don't know anything about that. And it seems to be the trend with him. Never know anything about important matters. That
Prime
kind of
Minister Massa.
effect. That's right.
Prime Minister Massa. Everybody knows you are invited to come to examine the evidence. Okay? You stood up in Parliament, you called the guy a fraudster.
Yeah.
You know, you made all kind of disparaging remarks against him.
He said
Now
the
you come into
Shastney
the media,
friend and
you
the
have
guy
no
is
idea.
shady.
Yeah. He blamed Shastney, right?
Yeah, Shastney friend. He said it's Shastney, shady friend.
Listen, these guys take no accountability for anything. Everything is the fault of Shastney. Everything for Shastney. A government in power for 3 years now and continues to blame Shastney for everything. No accountability, deflection, masters of deceit and deception. If you care about the integrity of your program, go to Washington, examine what they have. You could dismiss it after the fact. You could say, man, I ain't nothing, I dismiss that. But at least go see what they have. Whether or not you like this person, the fact is they're telling you there are issues with your program, and I saw an article from Ernest Hillary when he's in opposition, flagging Galaxy and saying they should never be allowed to operate in Saint Lucia. They've been run out of every other Caribbean country, right? If you're going to have them in your country, at least, hold them tightly. Make sure there's the oversight.
But they slack up. They free up.
They slack up.
Yeah.
If you have two children, one does what they have to do. They study, they straight and narrow. And you have one that's a little deviant. Aren't you going to hold that one tight?
Okay, you'll be watching that one, huh?
Exactly. So that is what they should have been doing with Galaxy. Instead, they've given those guys free reign. But they've not done it unknowingly, They've not done it unknowingly. They have done it knowingly. Ernest Hillary is very much part of this. Philippe is very much he's not just knows, he's very much part of what is going on
The
there.
government of St. Lucia on the whole are aware of their own programs, and we the people hold the government responsible for any fallout with the CIP program going forward. Let me ask you, Galaxy sold, there's a story that Galaxy sold their portion of CIP to, is it a local agency or something?
I'm not sure.
I thought I read something like that. Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes, Galaxy sold all its shares. That has to do with the Canals Resort.
Right. When did you see that?
I in a rush, I did not document it properly.
Okay.
And it says there the government of St. Lucia, when they got into office, they had requested that Galaxy finish the project, that they quickly bring it to an end.
Well,
but we heard it was undersold, the shares.
I'd have to see that article.
I'll send it to you once I get off.
Yeah.
But
let's go to the So I just want to go touch on one other point on that whole infrastructure program before I go on the lawsuit. So the donations program that is the most, where a majority of money comes into the government, because you only give 10% to the agent and the government keeps the rest for development or whatever they want to do with it. That one is the most beneficial to the government. Why are you introducing the infrastructure program where you pay the agent basically 30%? The money does not come through any escrow account. There are no checks and balances. There's no audit process. There's no audit trail. You have no idea what's going on in the money. Unlike the real estate option, the agent basically, or the approved developer basically sells or pays the contractor directly, as the case we see on the Bostage Road. So no oversight of the money. So what you've essentially done, your infrastructure is your projects, your passports belong to you. You're basically handing your sovereignty, or you're selling the sovereignty of the country by putting it in the hands of a third party with no bidding process, no transparency. You see what I'm saying, Pastor Garfield?
Yep.
I want to make sure I'm getting that point across clearly.
Yes. Yep.
Okay? So this is not the first instance where this government is doing that. They've also done that with GPH, where they've basically taken our assets and sold it for pittance for them to develop as they want. So another example of this government taking our sovereignty, giving it to a foreign third party without the necessary oversight and checks and balances.
Wow.
That's what this government is doing.
Reminds me of
A
a
government that
seabed.
complains about foreigners.
Yeah.
I have no idea why the reason for doing that. Like, what is the logic? Who is benefiting from this personally? Right?
Somebody got to be
So-
benefiting.
Yeah.
Because the same
Yeah.
foreigners, the fellas hated Cabot, and all the development in Viewfort. They said these guys are leeches and foreigners and coming in. Shasney was about friends, family, and foreigners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is as worst as we have seen it. It is worse than the seabed in St. Lucia that was sold.
Absolutely.
What was that, Grindberg
Absolutely.
or something?
Yeah, it was Grindberg.
Uh,
Okay. So let's go to the that lawsuit.
yeah.
So the government has been asking for evidence.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Massav, they've been acting as if there's no evidence of corruption in this process. There's no evidence. Where's the evidence? We have seen the evidence presented in this lawsuit, and we
Yeah.
will see further evidence presented as this thing goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
This is a scandal, Pastor Garfield. We should have learned our lessons from what happened in Dominica.
Yeah.
We should have learned the lessons of corruption in CIP and made sure, especially as a late entrance to the process, that we guarded against
True.
the same happening.
True.
But let me tell you, I'm telling you because since this started coming out, especially this weekend, and we started putting out information, or I started putting out information from Saturday,
Yeah.
I have
it's
gotten
awesome.
a number of messages from people who do not, private messages, who do not comment on anything politically, who don't necessarily provide opinions on any political stuff. The number of messages that have come to me in my inbox of people telling me that they are quietly watching this with a serious level of concern.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about business people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your economic sector in the country,
Yeah.
people who are messaging me. I'm not talking about the people who are political, who on both sides, who, the political people like you and I. I'm talking about people who do not comment. They mind their business,
Mm-hmm.
both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
They mind their business and they mind their business. Who are messaging me to say, this is very, very concerning. This is very alarming. I am watching this.
Yep.
I have received messages from lawyers,
Whoa.
because the lawyers, from my understanding, have been very concerned with what's happening in all of this. Because when there are CIP agents, but you have two agents or two lawyers who are preferred lawyers of Galaxy, and Allah will goes to them, so they get to eat and get fat,
Right.
and you have other lawyers who do not get a cent, right? They too are concerned, but not publicly voicing. Listen, there are a lot of people who are concerned with what's going on here, who are not publicly saying anything, but are talking behind the scenes. I was actually very surprised
Wow.
as to the
Wow.
messages and from who the messages came from. And people have every right to be concerned
Yes.
for a number of reasons. The
Yes.
corruption, right? The average person is, the risk is the loss of visa free access to the UK and Canada and whatever. But
Well,
for
that
the
is one of
business,
my major concerns
yeah,
for
absolutely.
the regular St. Lucian
Absolutely.
who might need an
Absolutely.
emergency visa to travel for medical care
Yeah.
or maybe a graduation or some
Yeah.
important.
Or don't need a visa to travel for medical care. You could go just jump on a plane and go to Martinique as it is.
Oh, you
But
can?
what happens
Oh, yes, yes.
right now? You can. You don't need a
Okay,
visa to go
good.
to Martinique, right? Because we enjoy visa-free access. But
Right.
what we are concerned about, we've been flagging, if the UK, if the EU revokes that visa-free access,
Boy.
St. Lucians will need a visa to go to Martinique. I don't think people are understanding that. So if God forbid you are a healthy man, right? You don't think anything is wrong with you, and you have a stroke or a heart attack and you need to emerge, you never thought that could have happened to you. You live a healthy lifestyle, you don't have a visa to go to Martinique because you know you're in St. Lucia, you're good, you're happy.
Yeah.
But the day you need it is a day you cannot get it.
You cannot get
because
it.
you are and you have an emergency. And we know that so many of our people, that has happened to so many of our people, that need to rush on a plane and get to Martinique. Now you have the additional layer of needing to apply for a visa to go to Martinique. And Garfield, I know you're from Dennery. You know the amount of traffic that goes back and forth between. There's a community there, right? There's
Yeah.
a relationship,
Yep, yep.
right? You are now going to need a visa to get to Martinique if the UK does what they are telling us that will be done if we don't get our act together. So that's one reason I am concerned. The business sector or the messages I've received are people who have said, this is not Dominica. The corruption that exists, in Dominica should never be allowed to happen in St. Lucia.
But we should
And
have
for
learned.
that reason, we are concerned.
My problem with this CIP program, it is not that these guys were not warned, or they were not aware of the potential of this fallout with the CIP
Yeah.
program. Mr. Chasney and the United Workers' Party warned the government about it. They were warned. They saw what happened in Dominica. They understand U.S. policies.
Yeah. Yeah. And he keeps warning and warning and warning and warning. And they're not, but as a matter of fact, their response is counterintuitive to all the warnings, as if they're going the opposite direction.
The opposite
makes no
direction.
sense.
Yeah.
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 So let's go back to what's happening now with this MSR media lawsuit. So when we've seen that, and let me explain MSR Media.
I was just going to ask you to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are an approved developer
Yeah.
in St. Kitts, right? Galaxy was an approved developer in St. Kitts. So they have said, because of how Galaxy was allowed to operate in St. Kitts, basically do the same thing they're doing in St. Lucia, and they were allowed by the former government of St. Kitts, as they are allowed by this government, to undersell, to behave like sharks out in the marketplace, to be corrupt practices, etc. That MSR Media, who's basically the competitor in selling passports, they weren't able to sell. Where St. Lucia gets into this, because Philippe Pierre wants to act like St. Lucia is not in it. That's what he wants to act like. MSR Media, that's between you and Galaxy, St. Lucia is not in it. MSR is not in St. Lucia. That's his response, essentially. Where St. Lucia is involved in it is because of exactly what I told you earlier, that we are part of the OECS Currency and Economic Union. So when St. Kitts allowed and St. Lucia continues to allow Galaxy to undersell, to behave corruptly, to do all what they're doing, basically they have given them free hand to do all what they're doing, they are essentially jeopardizing the ability of all other approved developers to sell passports, whether it's from Dominica, St. Kitts, Antigua, St. Lucia, anywhere else. That is what they are saying.
The dots is
That is
coming
how
together
St. Lucia
now.
into this, right? That is how St. Lucia or CIP St. Lucia's CEO is being named in this lawsuit. So when Philippe says we don't have nothing to do with it, that is how St. Lucia has to do it.
But let me ask you, what's going on with this prime minister? I'm not sure Mr. Pear understand the gravity of this situation.
And that's why everybody's who's watching this is like, this is a train wreck. It's like we're watching this train wreck in slow motion.
Yep.
And the prime minister pulls out a chair and has a glass in his hand. And
Yes.
he's oblivious. And the rest of us are watching this train wreck in slow motion, which is going to happen. And this is going to get worse. From what I'm understanding, this is there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more to come. So let me just go through my notes to make sure I'm covering everything I want to talk about. So in the lawsuit, it actually says that there's documented it's documented that CIP's Mc Claude Emmanuel says that Ernest has full knowledge. He had full knowledge of what's going on in Galaxy.
And this is what MSR Media they're saying
in the lawsuit.
In the lawsuit. Right.
Yeah. Let me just get to my notes. I want to just make sure I'm.
So this is
saying
not
everything.
us. This is what we have extracted from the lawsuit, the MSR Media lawsuit against St. Kitts
So you know,
and St. Lucia.
right. So they're saying that the Mc Claude Emmanuel has said Ernest knows what's going on with Galaxy. He knows what's going on. He's the mastermind behind CIP, basically. Right? So remember, these guys have a lot of screenshots, a lot of voice recordings, which is why they were asking the government to come and examine the evidence.
Yeah, I heard the MSR Media guy said that he has voice recordings,
right?
of St. Lucian officials.
Absolutely. So listen, right now, this is a civil case. But the Americans may very well make it a criminal case. Because once you use, if it's found in all of this thing, and this guy, MSR Media, he looks like he's sparing no cent in getting to the bottom of all of this. Like he's full investigation. And this is not St. Lucia where a prime minister can go to court and to see that justice was served to get one of his ministers.
No, he can't walk
this
across.
is not St. Lucia where you can sweep things under the rug. This is the US that you're dealing with, right? And once you use their banking system, or once you use their currency, even if it's a cent of US currency that they believe is laundered, or you use their banking system, this is now going to move from a civil case to a criminal matter.
My God.
And we know the US have shown that they have come into the Caribbean for government officials. So the people who are involved in this, they have very good reason to be very concerned. Meanwhile, the reputation of St. Lucia continues to be dragged through the mud. We're the one outlier in this. We're the one who still has not signed on to the MOU. We're the one who still goes to Greenland and admits that we've delayed because we're rushing to process Russian applications before the June 1st deadline. This is what is going on with this government. A government that seems oblivious to the dangers and risks that they are putting St. Lucia in. This is what's going on. So let me just get back to my notes.
Oh, wow.
So in that lawsuit, so Les Can was the former CEO of CIP in St. Kitts under the last government, right? He is named in that lawsuit. So former CEO of CIP in St. Kitts, the equivalent of Mc Claude Emmanuel, right? Mc Claude Emmanuel, St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, yeah.
He was for St. Kitts under the last government. He's now CEO of Caribbean Galaxy.
What? No.
He's now
You got
CEO
to
of
take your time
Caribbean
and repeat
Galaxy.
that. We
So
have over
okay, so
700 viewers between both channels here. You got to take your time and
okay, okay,
explain. Oh my
okay.
golly.
So
St.
Lescan,
Lucians.
he was the CEO of CIP in St. Kitts under the last government, right? The MSR media is alleging that the last government allowed Galaxy to act corruptly, to act illegally, to undersell, and so on. Right? Remember the government of St. Kitts changed. Can't remember how long ago, but fairly recently. He is no longer the CEO of CIP St. Kitts. He's now the CEO of Caribbean Galaxy. You see what's going on there? You see what's going on there? And Caribbean Galaxy is in St. Lucia. And because St. Lucia has refused to sign the MOU and get into compliance with the rest of the OECS, the lawsuit is saying because the government of St. Lucia, the Prime Minister, Ernest Hilaire, Mc Claude Emmanuel, because they're in bed with Galaxy, they're basically saying, in the essence of the lawsuit, or how St. Lucia gets involved in this, is there's collusion with Galaxy on the part of the government of St. Lucia. And that is how we end up in this lawsuit. And despite their warnings and they're ringing their alarm bells and so on, our government has dug their heels in and refused to act to make sure that our CIP program operates with integrity and within the law. As a matter of fact, they've ignored all the warnings from the UK, the US, locally, the OECS countries. They've ignored all the warnings, and they've ignored the warnings of this guy as well, who said, I have the evidence. Come to Washington. I will present you with the evidence.
And Philip Jippe, I was just going through media earlier today, and this man is still saying to St. Lucians that there's nothing to see here. Everything is okay, and it is, some people want St. Lucians to look bad. And basically, is the United Workers' Party are desperate, and everything is okay. There is nothing to be concerned. So it means that you, Miss Ward, you're crazy. You need help. I need help. Majority of St. Lucians need help. The lawyers need help. MSR needs help. Everybody else, we are messed up except for the government of St. Lucia. Everything is going fine. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, nothing to see here. That's exactly what the government is doing. Everything is fine.
Everything
we
is
have
fine.
Due diligence. The banks are currently due diligence. Not one person has flagged any issues. That's what the Prime Minister said.
That's what he said.
Not one person has flagged any issue with our program. Our program is running very well. There's no issues.
It's the best. Accountability and the border of the bucket, it's falling out.
Exactly. And you have SLP talk show hosts. So I tuned into one today to listen to how they're going to respond to this. If you're a concerned citizen of St. Lucia, right? Under last government, under Alan Chastney, I had my concerns with DSH and I voiced it.
Yeah.
Not because I support Alan Chastney means I will not voice my concerns.
That's right.
If you're concerned about the country, if you're a St. Lucian patriot, as you say, and you see the bottom of the bucket falling out, like you say, you address it. Instead, the man is attacking me for raising the concerns that the government of St. Lucia should be seen, that the UK government has raised, that the EU has raised, that the US has raised, that the OECS has raised, and he's attacking me as SLP host. That I'm coming after Ernest and Lon and this one and that one and the other one. Without even addressing the issues. Without addressing the issue, he's attacking me. But anyway, let's forget about these. That's irrelevant.
Yeah,
that's
right.
irrelevant.
That's right.
So so going back to there's a recently I should have had a link for the articles here. There were recently two people, I believe they were Chinese nationals, but they had St. Kitts passports, arrested for fraud, basically. And it was found that the identification they used to apply for St. Kitts passports was fraudulent.
Yeah.
When this government will have you believe that the due diligence is running smoothly, that is not the case at all. That is not the case. As a matter of fact, with the volume of CIP applications that they're putting through, 7,000 in the last 3 years given to Galaxy, 7,000, and another 5,000 more just given to them for the infrastructure program. Due diligence is not being done on every single one of them. A lot of them are just passing through without the necessary checks and balances.
Right.
And that is what has happened. So when he's saying, oh, everything is fine with the banks, this one, this, that is not the case at all. And that is why we are concerned.
But with
So-
the MSR lawsuit, the government of Saint Lucia had the opportunity at least to just send the attorney generals, if you don't want to go,
Yeah.
if you're so
exactly.
petty and childish,
Yeah.
tell somebody, just go and listen to what them fellas have to say. Just tell them, just go. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Drink a beer on the airport, enjoy, just go. Listen to them. Don't say
Exactly.
nothing. At least you go.
Exactly.
But you turn your
Yeah.
back on the fellas, and then you call them all sorts of names, like you would
Yeah.
call supporters of the United Workers' Party.
Yep. But that's who he is, right? If you are a serious prime minister, I'll read an article for you in a while where the prime minister of St. Kitts, now the new prime minister of St. Kitts, is saying that he is willing to terminate over 1,000 CIP citizenships.
Yep.
That article came out
Yep.
today. If it is found that there was any fraud or any underselling, if it was found that any of those guys underpaid for their passports, he's gonna cancel it. I'll come to the article in a while.
Yep.
But that's a level of seriousness and diligence St. Kitts, this new government in St. Kitts, is handling the CIP program. Meanwhile, our own prime minister is acting like he's oblivious to the train wreck that all of us can see happening. Philippe believes that if they say nothing, if they do nothing, the UWP will say nothing and do nothing, and this will all be swept under the rug.
That's
Because that's what they're relying on. These guys get away with saying nothing. I don't know. I don't know. We laugh at the prime minister when he says he doesn't know. But I think it's a tactic. It's a tactic to not be held accountable. It's a tactic to deflect accountability. That's what it is. He doesn't know. Prime Minister Massav. We joke about it, but it is a deliberate tactic to not address issues. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So let me just go back. I want to make sure I have all my points because I know that the CIP is not necessarily the easiest thing to.
It's not, yeah.
It's not.
For the ordinary citizen, some of them don't even understand fully, and we're trying our best here to break this down so that you St. Lucians can understand what is going on here, and it's
absolutely. So we talked about in all of this, Pastor Garfield, in all of this, because it looks like some people are benefiting personally.
Yeah.
You have two lawyers who are getting rich off this CIP thing because they're the preferred lawyers for Galaxy. So all the work is going to them. I'm not going to call anybody's names, but we should know who they are. They're the friends of the CIP minister. You have agents, you have Galaxy getting rich off of this. You have people with money we're hearing in secret bank accounts in countries that are close to Russia. Right? We're hearing of money hidden in accounts around the world. You have agents around the world getting fat off the sale of our passports. You have minimal money coming into St. Lucia. Who are the losers in what is going on here? I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to ask the chat room as well. Who are the losers? I want you to put it in the chat room. You know who's benefiting. You know who the winners are in this scam, in this Ponzi scheme. Because I'm calling this a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
At this point, what the CIP is right now has gone down to being a Ponzi scheme.
Yep.
So we know who are the winners. Who are the losers? I'm asking the chat room. I want to see you all type it into the chat.
Yep.
St. Lucians, who are the losers in all of this? Please type it into the chat.
Yep. Those of you over on YouTube also, we're monitoring there.
Yep.
By the way, we have record numbers on YouTube tonight. I want to welcome you folks.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat. Let me see. Who are the losers in all of this?
St. Lucians, Lucy.
St. Lucians.
All
St.
right, yes,
Lucians,
St.
the
Lucians.
country.
Yes.
The country. St. Lucians are the losers in all of this. St. Lucians are the losers in all of this. And I'll tell you how St. Lucians are the losers in all of this. We are getting the bare minimum
Yeah.
money in terms of the money we should have gotten from CIP. We're getting the bare minimum. What have you seen? Have you seen any, with all what's going on here, 7,000 passports sold to Caribbean Galaxy, given to Caribbean Galaxy for sale in the last 3 years. Have you seen any change in the landscape of St. Lucia? No. There's no water in the pipes. There's no water in the pipes.
Rain
There's no
falling.
resilting of the dam.
We can't get the roads
The
fixed.
roads are
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah.
St. Jude's is not finished. There's no medicine at the hospitals. Right? No, the Hiranora Airport is halted. The work on the construction of that is halted.
Yep.
What do we have to show except a few piles in the ground on the canals project? No, but think about it. Think about it. 7,000 passports given to Caribbean Galaxy. That's $1.4 billion.
Wow.
Have you seen a change on the landscape of St. Lucia to indicate this money? St. Lucians, please put in the chat. I'm going to look at your answers. I'm going to look at your responses.
Yep. Yes. I'm also monitoring our YouTube channel, so the
Have
folks
you
there engaged.
seen?
Yeah.
Somebody said our airport is a mess.
Yeah.
There is no water in the taps. There is a water emergency.
Yeah. And our wellness center is a mess too, huh?
Our wellness center is a mess.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have sold 7,000 passports to Caribbean Galaxy. And people all over the world, except you, have benefited from the sale of your citizenship.
And surprisingly, for the hacks who believe that it is flabo just rah, keeping noise because they lose an election, maybe you should just hang in a bit and stay on the train. And maybe one day you might need a visa and you might be affected. You know, so it is not a flabo or Labour Party issue, it's a St. Lucian issue. It is. It really is.
Absolutely. And speaking of visa, that is the next thing. That is the next thing that is of concern. Right? Pastor Garfield, you have an American passport. I have a Canadian passport.
Yep.
I don't need a visa to go to the UK, the US, or anywhere else. I don't.
I walk straight off the airport.
Exactly. But people at home do. What about the St. Lucians who do not have a second passport?
And the problem is that
And
they think that we're sitting here because there's some benefit to us. Listen to me,
That's
as
what
you
they
said,
think.
we can go where we want, how we want, when we want.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We are speaking on behalf of you, the citizens of the country.
And
You need to watch
speak
your bread.
out too. That is
Yeah.
why I'm here tonight. I could
That's
be
right.
having a glass of wine and watching The Real Housewives or something on my TV. I am here tonight, Garfield. I'm sure you have other things to do.
Yeah, I could have been
We are
straightening my
working
daughter
on-
hair. She want daddy to straighten her hair.
Do a live when you're doing that. Okay,
One
I
of
wanna
these
see
days,
the- I
yes.
wanna see that, yeah. No,
Yeah.
but the point is, we are here. There's no
Yeah.
benefit to us.
That's
We
right.
are here trying to explain this to people in the most simplest way that we can, in the
Yeah.
most layman way that we can. I know I have put out different articles and stuff this weekend, but there are many people who are not on social media.
Yeah.
The stuff is a bit complicated to understand, and I get it.
True.
Right? That's why we're here to try to explain to people in the simplest way so people can understand what it potentially can mean for them. The loss of money that should have been used to by now to finish St. Jude's, that we
Get
would
our
not need to be
healthcare.
borrowing at $201 million on
But
the
what?
backs. According to them, your great grandchildren are going to be paying for,
Yeah.
right? That CIP money should have been used to complete St. Jude's. Hiranora Airport, CIP money plus a passenger head tax. Hiranora should be well underway. Our
Yes.
road should not be in that deplorable condition. There should be medicine in our hospitals. Our mental wellness center should not be in that state. There should be money to distill the dam. There should be money for storage capacity and to enhance our distribution lines so there would not be this water situation we're having. There should be money to upgrade our facilities that need to be upgraded. There should be money. We're not seeing that money, and that is why I'm here tonight.
Right. Our Cash 3 city should have been looking much better with that money.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
need for people to understand what this visa thing is. I want people to reflect. I want people to sit and reflect. I want people in the chat to tell me. I'm looking at the comments.
Okay.
Please tell me how many passports you have. If it's one or two, just put one or two in the chat. I want to know if it's just a St. Lucian passport you have or if you have a secondary passport. If you have just a St. Lucian passport, put one, just the number one in the chat, please.
All right. Here's an opportunity for you to engage our viewers. Yes.
Put one or two in the chat. I know there's a delay in the...
Yes, it's coming now.
People are saying one.
One.
Somebody saying two.
One.
Please put in the chat whether you have one, which means a St. Lucian passport, or you have two, a St. Lucian and another passport. Please put in the chat.
Two.
Lots of people saying one, some people saying two. I guess we have a lot of people on the diaspora watching as well.
Yes.
One. Joella is saying she has two. One. Two. One. Okay. For everybody that has put one passport, for everybody who has put one, I take it that the one passport you have is a St. Lucian passport, right?
Yep.
I take it that the one passport you have is a St. Lucian passport. Those of you with St. Lucian passports, I want you to put in the chat whether you go to Martinique, you go to England, you go to anywhere in the UK, the EU. I want you to tell me yes or no. Do you or have you in the last 5 years gone to Martinique, Guadeloupe, England, anywhere, France, Brussels, wherever you have gone in the EU? I want you to tell me in the last 5 years, have you gone or do you in the next 5 years intend to travel to any of those countries I mentioned to you? Tell me yes or no, please. Those of you with one passport, those of you with only a St. Lucian passport, please tell me, have you in the last 5 years or do you intend to? Okay, I'm seeing lots of yeses.
Yeah.
I want this to sink in. I'm going through this exercise, Pastor Garfield. I
Yes.
want people to understand what this can potentially mean for them. Because when you hear the loss of visa-free access, people don't understand
Nope.
what it means until it happens.
That's right.
I remember when St. Lucia lost its visa-free access to Canada. And Canada was warning St. Lucia for many years, you know.
Yes.
Canada was just as the UK is warning us, Canada was warning St. Lucia for a long time, right? And when it finally happened, when they imposed visa restrictions on St. Lucia, everybody's like, what the heck just
Yeah,
happened?
that was
What the
something.
heck just happened was what they were warning you about for years, but you all did not listen. The UK is doing the same thing. They have been flagging our CIP program as an issue, and our government still refuses to get into compliance.
Yep.
What that means for all of you who have put one is that now you will need to find money, take money, fly to wherever the embassy is. Where's the embassy? In Martinique?
Martinique.
I don't even know what the embassy is,
The US?
right? No, or if they need to go to, I don't even know what the
I think they got to
I
go
don't even know.
through. the embassy in St. Lucia to get to.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
They will have to find money, whatever it is, whatever the
yeah.
process is. Find money to get a visa. They'll have to go to the bank, get bank statement, get bank letter, show the bank, show your house, your job letter. Those of you who are self-employed, chances are you will not get that visa because you may be a risk to stay, to overstay. And just it's the same process when you have to get a US visa. You have to go and show them everything you have, right?
Yep.
You have to show the US Embassy everything you have. It's going to be the same. I want you to understand what this government is putting in jeopardy for you. This is what they are putting at risk. And if, God forbid, you figure, I ain't traveling to these countries anytime soon, man. I good. And the day you fall sick and you need to access emergency healthcare in Martin because you know our hospitals are the pits.
Yep.
I want you to understand what this potentially means for you. Don't just think visa-free access and you think it isn't going to affect you. It is going to affect you.
Or your family.
Or your family.
Yes. Yep.
That is what I want you to grasp.
Whether you're UWP or SLP.
That is what it means.
Yep.
It means a loss of reputation. The third thing is a loss of reputation of St. Lucia. We had heard about Dominica in the space. We had heard about Dominica.
Yeah.
Right? The reputation of corruption. St. Lucia, we are there. We are there. We are now tainted like Dominica with the corruption.
But even with
Dominica
Dominica,
we have nothing to show for
I
it.
was just going to say that even with all the corruption, Dominica was able to build houses for the poor citizens, build new communities.
Yeah. There's nothing to show for St.
Yeah.
Lucia with the same corruption.
Wow.
That is what I want you to understand, what is going on there.
I don't know if you remember the Prime Minister when he left St. Lucia to go somewhere to Brussels or somewhere to discuss this CIP issue. You remember he came back and he said to the media, well, there were 4 other issues, but never up to this day told St. Lucians.
No.
And the press sat there and allowed the Prime Minister to henpeck them and to malmenate themselves. And up to this day, the Prime Minister have not told them what are the other 4 issues.
That's why I tell you this. The Prime Minister, you want to take a call?
No, because we're not going to put any calls up. It's 9:33. We will just read comments.
Right.
And we'll read comments tonight. So folks, hold your calls. Tomorrow I'll have a show tomorrow. You can call and give me MIP and do everything else tomorrow.
Right. So so back to the point I was making. The Prime, we think, what is wrong with this Prime Minister? He's taking and wailing and getting nothing. It is deliberate. It is deliberate. We laugh and joke and create memes. Well, not we, but I see the memes on St. Lucia memes and all the other meme pages of St. Lucia.
This short fella.
Sorry.
The sky is falling.
So I guess he still don't believe the sky is falling for CIP, you know.
So he hear my point. He does that when he's from the media to deflect from the issue. And the poor little media guys, they run under deflection. They get confused and frazzled by the deflection, and the issue is never addressed. He never said what the 4 other issues were that the UK or the European Union, has raised issues with. He never said it.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell you this press is not holding the government accountable. They're not.
They don't understand their role. That's their problem.
They're getting off easy. How much coverage did you see about the CIP thing in the media in St. Lucia?
I was shocked. I was browsing today and I'm saying
nothing.
DBS said something.
They did that?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Grenada media and the St. Kitts media, but not our own media.
And Jamaica, because I got information from Jamaica too.
Imagine we have to go outside of St. Lucia to get information about what is happening in our CIP media, our CIP program, and the St. Lucian media is quiet. is quiet. But I understand, and I'm going to ask a question because I'm going to ask.
Yep.
Is the media, has the media, or is the media in the pockets of the government? I'm asking because I find it highly suspicious that they're not asking the government any questions. They're not reporting, and I'm hearing that offers have been made. I am hearing, and I'm asking the question because the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening.
Me
And then
question,
you have the
Miss
Labour
here.
Party media.
What do you? I told them, me question. Don't come for
Yes.
us. Answer the question. That's their
Exactly.
problem. They will come for us, but they would never answer the question.
And exactly that. So I listened today to hear
Yeah.
what the 12 o'clock Labour Party media had to say. Instead of addressing the issues, they chose to attack me over. Because I am a concerned citizen flagging a serious issue, right? That the rest of the world has flagged to us and we refuse to hear. But instead of dealing with the issue and the issues, you want to come and attack me over.
They're coming for you,
That is what we face in this country.
and they get. And,
That
I
is
mean,
very
and then they go over the cliff, and then they look back and say, "Oops, we didn't know. Sorry."
Exactly.
But look at this.
Exactly.
Here is something. I'm going to put up something here from, I believe it's from the CIP Saint Lucia. Here is something that were not told to the people of Saint Lucia by the government of Saint Lucia. And I'm going to read. Sorry about the lightning. It really needs the lightning for true. Mc Claude Emmanuel, Chief Executive Officer of the Saint Lucia Citizenship by Investment Unit, has given the assurance that Prime Minister Philippe Martinez will be signing the Memorandum of Agreement, the MOA, that requires OECS territories to have common standards and regulations for their citizenship by investment program, CBI program. I wonder what caused that. Do you know, Miss
I wonder
Watt?
what.
I
They
don't
don't
know.
have a choice. The June 1st deadline is coming up. They don't have a choice, right? So they rush ahead to process as many Russian applicants as they could before the June 1st deadline. And they never informed our own local media. Our local media never reported on that. They never put out a press release, but they go to Grenada. They go and talk to the Grenadians about our
Program, yes.
citizenship program. So I want to read to you a little bit of an article that came out today in the St. Kitts media. And it's titled St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew stands willing to revoke thousands of citizenship by investment grants. So on Thursday, 23rd May, so last week, the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew addressed two significant lawsuits alleging malpractice within the Federation's CIP. The lawsuits filed in the U.S. and St. Kitts, so I'm guessing MSR Media is one of them, claims that between 2021 and 2022, there was a practice of underselling within the CBIP or CIP. This practice involves developers offering citizenship at a discount below the statutory minimum investment required, which is exactly what is happening to us.
Yeah.
Our statutory minimum investment is $100,000. These guys were selling for as low as $68,000, and there's evidence of that. There's evidence of that. Our passports. The lawsuit in Florida further alleges that such underselling practices are currently occurring in another jurisdiction.
Mercy.
I wonder which jurisdiction is that.
I don't know.
Pastor Gabriel, which other jurisdiction they talking about?
I don't think it's St. Lucia. Maybe it's in Europe, in Martinique. I don't know. Oh,
Prime Minister Drew responded decisively, saying, "We have already instructed King's Counsel to act in this judicial review matter." You see how seriously they're taking their stuff?
But the St. Kitts Prime Minister
that's the Kitts Prime Minister, the new one. The
St. Kitts Prime Minister has a very good advisor, national security advisor, Dr. Powell, who was on our program. Very good advisor. I'm not sure who is advising our Prime Minister in St. Lucia, But a statement like that, it is in place. Our Prime Minister in St. Lucia should stop simigwinning. That's what he's doing. He's forming the fool. And stand up on these serious matters and address the citizens of the country.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
simigwin.
So you ask who is advising our Prime Minister?
Who is advising him?
Who's advising the Prime Minister is the fox watching the chicken coop in St. Lucia.
My God.
You understand what I'm saying? The fox watching the chicken coop, Ernest Hille, is advising the Prime Minister. And that's why we could never get a response like this. But I want us to understand the seriousness and the urgency in which they take it in St. Kitts. So he's launched a judicial review. We have already instructed King's Counsel, their KC, no longer QC, KC, to act in this judicial review matter. If any of the investments for which citizenships have been granted are proven to be unlawful, with or without the lawsuit, so he's not waiting for MSR Media to do what he has to do or to act, right? I am and always have been prepared to take the necessary statutory steps under the Citizenship Act to protect the Federation's good name.
Aye.
So he's concerned about the name and reputation of St. Kitts, unlike this government who is dragging our name of St. Lucia through the mud again, and revoke citizenships obtained by fraud. Dr. Garfield, how many citizenships are in St. Lucia of the 7,000 you think will have to be revoked?
I don't know if I honestly don't know if there are 40,000 Russians out there with St. Lucian passport. I don't know.
I have no idea. But
No
just like
idea.
we woke up one day and learned that we sold our diplomacy to Walid Jufali on the front page of the UK press, right? And we're still waiting for what they say we'll get in some hospital or something, some diabetes research center.
Yes.
The same way we got to know that on the front page of a UK newspaper. I'm just waiting to hear about who got arrested, which Russian, whoever got arrested with a St. Lucian passport on the front page of the UK press. I'm just waiting for it to happen,
But
because it's inevitable.
But Ward, my question, as you mentioned that the Russian situation, and the statement that I just read from Emmanuel stating that the Prime Minister is going to sign the MOA. My question is to the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Emmanuel, and to the government of St. Lucia. Did you get clearance from the U.S. to the point that you're going to sign the agreement now? You're satisfied with all the answers and everything? Did you get the green light from the U.S.? That's my question.
And that is a very good question.
Did
That
you?
is a very good question. Because
Did
you told us you were waiting for certain information, you were waiting
Yeah.
for green light. Did you get it? Because
get it?
they're going to come and sign the agreement before June 1st.
They don't
They're
have a
going
choice.
to sign it. They don't have a choice. They
They're
will
in their
sign
necks.
it. When is June 1st? Tuesday
June
27th?
1st?
When is June 1st?
Is on Saturday.
Saturday. So
Is
it's going to
it?
be signed before June 1st. I'm not sure. But it's going to be signed before June 1st. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like you asked, whether they've satisfied themselves with all what they delayed to get. So let me go back to that article because it's important. I want to
Yes.
show the contrast with the seriousness in which St. Kitts takes what is happening here.
Yeah.
So if any of the investments for which citizenships have been granted are proven to be unlawful with or without the lawsuit, so he's not waiting for MSR Media. I am and always have been prepared to take the necessary statutory steps under the Citizenship Act to protect our Federation's good name and revoke citizenships obtained by fraud. However, I will do so only on the basis of facts and evidence, as every citizen of the country has a right to due process, which is true. The lawsuits were initiated by Philippe Martinez and his MSR entities who were recently appointed by the Drew administration. It goes on. Let me just see this. There's also another one I want to point out. Just give me a second.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, yeah, that's the article. But yeah, so this came out today in St. Kitts. But I wanted to show the contrast and the seriousness in which St. Kitts is handling this. Meanwhile, our prime minister is acting like he knows nothing. He doesn't want to hear anything. He knows nothing. He's not doing anything. Prime Minister Massav. I want to just check some of the comments in the chat.
In the chat? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, not really. Captain is saying over there on YouTube, Maji, there are people who got the American for the first time, never produce a bank statement. What you talking about? I don't know what that means. That's just a hack,
So
maybe over there. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, for sure. And they're talking about some people who go to get U.S. passport, the U.S. visas, who may not need the bank. The U.S. may not ask them for a bank statement, right? The U.S. assesses your level of risk. So if you're employed, if they did nothing in your police record, whatever, they probably won't ask you for the level of scrutiny. They would ask for a vendor who probably doesn't have the formal job, or they will ask a fisherman or a hairdresser or somebody they will ask for a higher level of documentation. And that's the
That's
point
right.
I'm making.
That's
Right?
it.
So somebody who's a government employee, you don't have to produce all the bells and whistles that somebody who is operating as a bus driver or some other means of self-employment. And that is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
So it is the person who is probably the most exposed who will have to undergo the highest level of scrutiny. To get that
Normally,
visa.
it's
That
the
is the point
poorest
I'm
of the
making.
poor, according to the Prime Minister.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
Just looking at some of the comments. Somebody said, I still can't understand how Lucians could turn their back on Shas. They better start showing him how much they want him back to give us some stability and dignity.
Yeah. We also
Somebody
saw.
saying, but PJP.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go
You
on.
Go ahead.
Look, somebody saying, but PJP said SLU was the first to stop. That's a lie. St.
a
Lucia was
lie.
the fifth to stop, and the
Yes.
articles are there. That's a
Under
lie.
pressure.
But he did say
Under
that.
pressure.
Yeah, under pressure. But he did say that. He said, oh, we were the first. No, that's a blatant lie. Because I remember quite clearly Norbert doing a show. Norbert Williams doing a show, really going in on them at the ridiculousness of the statement that we can't discriminate against the Russians.
True.
The person
That's
said,
true.
PJP said, yep. But PJP said SLU was the first to stop selling citizenship to Russians. And now they are saying they are still waiting to process passports for Russians. Yes, my dear, that's what the CEO of CIP went to Grenada to say. Somebody said they must be rushing to complete Russian applications before the June 1st deadline.
They may be doing a lot of
So-
overtime. Solution to sign.
Anything interesting on YouTube?
YouTube, the folks are just. We have one hack. Just doing his stuff.
Only
and-
one?
No,
Only
there are
one?
more.
I would expect there to be a lot more.
No, there are more, but some of them are very controlled. They're not overreacting. The
Okay,
information, I
they're
believe
probably-
that they're
they're probably-
shocked
They're
with
shocked.
the information.
They're
That's
shocked.
right. You give them
They're
an
shocked.
information overload.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it have them it's like a tranquilizer. It keeps you,
Yeah.
a certain
Because
way.
Pastor Garfield, the reality is that whether or not you want to be a hack, whether or not you want to be a hack,
Yeah.
there's only so much hacking you can do.
True.
There's only so much hacking. Your hacking has to go to an extent.
True.
At the end of the day, this is going to affect all St. Lucians. And most of all, the St. Lucians with only a St. Lucian passport.
Yeah.
Whether you WP or SLP, it is not going to discriminate against you. You are going to be affected. So if you think you can sit on YouTube or Facebook and in the comments try to insult, malign, or whatever and hack away, you have another thing coming for you. Because all your hacking is not going to change the price of coffee.
Yep.
Whether you support the Labour Party or the UWP or NOPI, you have a duty to hold this government accountable for what they have done with our CIP program. Now, you may not choose to do it publicly. You may choose to go behind the closed doors and tell your government what the heck are you doing, but
that's
you
what they
need
normally
to
do,
tell
yeah.
them what the heck are you doing? Because this is very serious. Very serious. And Pastor Garfield and I have taken the time tonight to come here and explain things in the simplest way we can, so you can understand what this means for you.
Yep. But let me show you something. With all the issues in the CIP program, here is a response from the CIP unit. That's government of Saint Lucia, not Saint Kitts.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this is an attempt to keep people, to muffle, to shut people's mouth and get them afraid of lawsuits and challenges in the courts. And here I'm going to quote from the CIP unit. CIP unit gives every assurance that it will defend its reputation and image against any false and malicious attack, and we will not be bullied. Instead of clarifying, explaining to the citizens of the country, they have a reputation to defend and to protect at any means, and they will not be bullied. And the same thing Mr. Pear did. He told MSR that he will not be bullied. He will not come to no meeting. You're Shasney friend and you're crooked. We're not coming anywhere. Member Gaila Yogafe. Member Gaila. We will not be bullied.
It is the sheer arrogance of those guys. The sheer arrogance. And the ignorant arrogance. Oh, we are a sovereign country. Nobody can tell us what to do. You are a dot. Your passport allows you visa-free access to other people's countries. That is the value of your CIP program. The access to other people's countries. The people telling you you are putting their countries at a security risk.
Yes. And by the way, the people that we will need to defend us in case of a war, the same people that we will need in case of a major disaster in the country, we are telling them, we are turning our backs on them and telling them, mind you all business, we're doing what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But the point of the whole passport is not that the people are staying in St. Lucia. The people are using the passport to access their countries. The sheer arrogance.
It's a national security disaster for these countries.
Could you read that from the CIP again for me, please? It is mind-boggling.
CIP unit gives every assurance that it will defend its reputation and image against any false and malicious attacks and will not be bullied. Not be bullied. Well, you're all in the courts, the federal court in Florida there. Huh? You call that bullying? You're being bullied? Huh?
Listen, I'm not. The sheer arrogance I'm laughing at, because these guys are such clowns. Endless bravado while they're being dragged before the U.S. court. Do they think that it's St. Lucia? Do they think that this is St. Lucia? They have not realized the seriousness of what is going on here now? Do they not understand that this can very quickly become a criminal matter?
Them fellas acting like when I was younger and I trying to impress girls. I'm riding a bike and when I saw the girl, there was a piece of wood in front of the bicycle. I flipped over, landed on my back. I'm in pain on the ground. The girl stands there and I'm like, nothing happened. I'm good. And I'm just sitting on the ground. That's what them fellas are doing. Guys, y'all on your back. What bully you talking about? Don't be like me. I was on my back, fall down, trying to tell. I'm in pain. Hold on, we got a because we got a family, like a week. Everything is good. Massa do boot. I can't stand up. Why is me?
Oh God!
I'm telling you.
This is disgusting.
Sorry for making you laugh on a serious matter. I run out of water. I like Wasco.
Oh
I have no more water to drink.
No. Not you alone. People haven't seen water for weeks in their pipe in St.
I
Lucia.
know, but this is very serious, and it is laughable sometimes when you listen to the Prime Minister on these issues, all he tells the St. Lucian people is Shasne, and you don't be desperate. We win, you lose, and they try to make St. Lucia look bad, and these. Poor Shasne, though, trying to figure out. But what did I do? I tell you guys, nothing. It's MSR took you all to court, not me.
Oh my
How is
God,
me?
that impersonation was so good.
Sorry.
I got this shot fella. The sky is falling. I got this shot fella. The sky is falling.
Sorry. That was just a light moment.
That's exactly how he behaves. But he does it, and we get distracted by it.
That's
And
it.
he totally causes us to miss the issue.
He does it to the press all the time. He throws them this thing and they start laughing with him and he says, you see. I mean, what? I'm telling you, if Shasna did that during his leadership, these fellas would be all over the media making memes about Shasna.
Oh yeah. No, they make a memes. Like
Now they have the best prime minister, the best in the world.
These guys know better. They know better. That's the Labour Party. They have to show face. They have to defend the indefensible. I come from the Labour Party camp, so I know that's what they do. But they know all this fake bravado. Oh, I will defend our reputation. It's fake bravado.
It's
fake. Nothing else is
yes.
fake bravado.
But it's after all their drama and their presentation, their drama presentation, they got to face the reality because it's not going away. I hope they understand that. They can cuss you, they can cuss UWP. The situation is still there to be dealt with. One, you don't have a choice. You have to go and sign it. We told you to sign it. You refuse. Now we drag you and you have to sign it. You see how things happen? So you can excite yourself. You still got to do what you got to do. You still got to end up in court. I hope you have a good lawyer.
And it's a civil matter right now. It may very well be more than that. So,
and as I said, I believe it's in a federal court.
Yes.
In Florida. Yeah.
I'll have to double check.
Yes, I believe that's right.
The article said Florida. The article said Florida. In any event, it's almost 10 o'clock. But I always when I go live and I take the time to talk to St. Lucians, and you do too. I always ask, now that I've taken the time to explain certain issues to people, because we don't come here just for the sake of coming here. We have to take the time to prepare, to go research, to get our stuff lined up, to Now that we've taken our time to come and explain this, I always ask, what are you going to do? St. Lucians, write in the chat groups for us. What are you going to do? Are you going to just take this information and stay silent? Because this government is relying on your silence.
Yeah, true.
There was a previous issue. I can't remember what it was right now. They said St. Lucians are silent, so that means they agree with it. This government interprets the silence of St. Lucians as agreement. I want St. Lucians to write in the chat, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Now that we've invested the time to explain the seriousness and the implications of this for you, what are you going to do with that information? Right? Today, I hardly heard anything about the CIP matter in any of the news channels or any of the talk shows. Now that you guys have understood, even if you don't understand fully what's going on, but you understand elements of it, you understand what this means for you. The loss of money to St. Lucia, the loss of St. Lucia's reputation, and the potential loss of your visa-free access to the UK and broader EU, right? That is what it means to you. What are you going to do? You have different spheres of influence. You have your social media platforms. You have people you work with. You have neighbors. You need to take to those platforms, your spheres of influence, your social media, post on Facebook, post on Instagram, post on X, post on TikTok, whatever your platforms are, post on it. Talk to your people in your office tomorrow when you go to work. Talk to your neighbors. When you hang out by the bar this weekend, bring it up as a subject. Call the media, the talk shows tomorrow. Not just tomorrow, because the Labour Party relies on things dying. So you see how last year when GPH came up, people talking about it for a little while, they made noise and it died.
True.
A year later, they signed an agreement with GPH, giving them our pots of pittance for 40 years. This is what the government does. They expect there to be a little outburst of noise and they expect the noise to die. That's why they don't respond to anything. You have to make sure you stay on top of this government like white on rice about this issue. And make sure you don't let it die like other issues because they take you for granted.
True.
They take your silence for weakness in St. Lucia. This is this government. So I want you to write in the chat room now. That will be your commitment to what are you going to do with this information now. I want you to write it in the chat room right now. Please write it, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Please put in the comments your commitment of what are you going to do to get this information out, to raise our collective voices for this government to understand that the power does not lie with them, it lies with the people of St. Lucia. And they are putting our citizenship, our highest office of the land, in jeopardy. Please write in the chat room, what are you going to do?
Yes.
Let me look at the comments. If you see any comments, let me know.
I will, yes.
No.
William Joseph on YouTube. SLP must go now.
People, I want you all to write because I want this to be a commitment that you're making of how you're going to get this information out. It is very important that you write, you make a commitment in the chat group now of what you are going to do. If you're going to talk to your neighbor, if you're going to talk to your husband, your children, if you're going to put it on social media, I want you to tell me what you're going to do. Somebody said we need to take to the streets. Yes. When the next protest is called, you all need to come out and stop making excuses. Stop being intimidated by the Labour Party. Stop hiding from the Labour Party. I know they're bullies. I know they love to attack and malign people and dirty their reputations. I know that. I have all people who know that about the Labour Party. Trust me. Okay? But you need to stop being intimidated by the Labour Party.
Enough talk.
Enough talk.
Yes.
Everybody always want to protest. When protest is called, everybody hiding in the back. Stop letting yourself be bullied by the Labour Party and take a stance. Somebody said, I'm going to talk to the people of my community about it. Somebody said, talk to my neighbors.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Somebody said, get them out. Somebody said, take to the streets.
Yep.
Take to the streets.
That's right. So Tidy says, I'm ready for the street.
Take to the streets.
Yes, again and again.
It is time for us to take to the streets.
That's right.
This Labour Party government is stubborn and arrogant, and they're not going to hear until they see a mass of people come out and take to the streets. A mass of people, not just yellow, people, business people, civil society, Chamber of Commerce, SLHTA, Medical and Dental Association. Unless they don't see that mass, that critical mass, they're going to continue to think that they can take St. Lucians for granted.
So don't wait on the United Workers' Party. You get involved, civil society. Yes.
Pastor Garfield, thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about CIP on your platform.
No problem. It's always a pleasure. Yes. And thank you so much for the information. I was able to write at least 2 or 3 pages while you were speaking.
Wow.
Yes, I was just writing. I will go for them tonight, in my private time. But it's a pleasure, the information. It's a lot. But, the folks on the platform, they were engaged. And we're very happy. I have never really had that amount of viewers over on YouTube one time. And so when I see the YouTube numbers high, I know that they're individuals who don't normally watch us, whether on Facebook or YouTube. So they just go over there, to view the platform. So thank you so much for the information. And we'll continue to keep this CIP alive. I know what the SLP, they're hoping that, we just do what we normally do, discuss it for 2 nights and then it's dead, it goes away. But it is something we got to keep on. I'll try to see if I can get one of my security experts to come in and have a conversation with us about, the breakout of this CIP.
But this is not going to go away, because this is not Saint Lucia where things get swept under the rug and judges get transferred to Grenada and there's political interference and the Attorney General is writing to judges. This is not Saint Lucia. This is in the U.S. courts. This is not going to go away. They can will it away. They can wish it away. They can arrogantly shout and scream that they're going to defend. This is not going away.
Going away. You can't pray it away. You can't hope it away.
Nope. And they were warned. There have been enough documentation of the warnings, both from the opposition and from the UK, US, like I said, other ECS countries. There's been enough warnings.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and thank you for the laughs tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not my fault.
You can do some good imitations. I never knew that about you.
I didn't know that about myself until I met Philippe Martinez. Thank you so much. And we shall touch base again. Thank you. Appreciate the information. And, to our viewers, I normally have to give my viewers their favorite corner, the Philippe Juppé corner. So, blessings. Thank you so much again for being here with us.
Thank
Viewers,
you, everybody. Thank you.
Blessings to you all. And I will be back here tomorrow night, God's willing. We will be back with a program tomorrow night. Okay, so I know there's a lot more information that is going to come out between now and tomorrow. All right, so enjoy your Philippe Juppé moment.
Big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philippe Juppé attacked elderly people